In this video, I propose to address the idea that Mackenzie Shirilla, who was a minor, made even more of a minor by drugs that were somewhat, I think, obviously being pushed on her by adult men with whom she was having sex. She was gaslit into having a seizure at the wheel and nearly died, only to be betrayed by the legal system and culture of Strongsville, Ohio, and she's in a prison for life for 15 years, or whatever they're going to do. The idea that she needs a miracle is notarized by the miracle at work in the way that the assassins who did this to her tortured me and got away with it by claiming Reagan didn't know. So a defense of her based on understanding of the source of the nerve agent that was used to hypnotize her, the neurohypnotic chemical that was used, and the meaning by which she was drafted for this puppet show by corrections itself in Western Ohio and Eastern Pennsylvania and Eastern Ohio. The East Palestine area has a monument to the Palestine Donbass show. Is considered a miracle because as soon as I say Reagan was behind the operation of the why behind Gail Burston never being arrested, and the essence of the name Burston from The Exorcist, the enemy within, in the demonstration projects that the AIPAC engage in, drafting minors for this sort of outrage. Requires an understanding of show business and the way that show business gained license for genocide by pretending certain forces were fundamentally authorized by authorities. I'll give you an example of how this operates. Black culture in Seattle doesn't like the idea that a white can get away with claiming it was poisoned by narcotics traffickers because it's a class structure question. All white slaves, meaning black white slaves, white slavery means drug slavery, human trafficking, is a victim of such groups as the MK Ultra. And so to foil an example being addressed and remedied, they would cooperate. The Jericho Project and Seattle Art Museum cooperated in the drafting of Mackenzie Shirilla, which gives you an idea of how the MK Ultra operated all along. It's a corrections union. Texas Corrections is notorious for cutting deals between the correction officers and the gang bosses. This is how Bush has operated all along. It's the reason why the Carousel Club, where the Dallas police were, made such a laugh of getting rid of Kennedy, because they cooperate together. It's a union sort of crowd. So the union decided to draft Mackenzie to say that there are no exclusive victims. And it's authorized by an umbrella system, which was put in place as a trump, which is the performance aspect of what Mick Jagger, Yoko Ono, Donald Trump, Netanyahu, Reagan, Clint Eastwood polled. In the puppet show of media, in our culture, what happened? I'll explain. Media became divorced from education, and the result was a broken home. The closest thing we had to educational TV in Pittsburgh was WQED, and they're notorious for cooperating in this nightmare. Public schools address all sorts of issues to make people ready to take on courageously the struggles of the world around them. So, what they did was they created a little storyline about Reagan being shot and his friendship with Lenin, and these were important people. And so the people who are implicated in AIDS actually get the last laugh because Ronald Reagan saw their point about the object lesson of the program. Who his attorneys had in D.C. when he claimed he was shot, he came out and waved to me. The brochure reads, "There's no such thing as objective reality, only what the jury believes." So this is a triangulation of a miracle process. Reagan's attorneys have me, and he says it's a performance in their brochure. Everything is a performance. And then Yoko Ono has the little boy from the flew under the Texas flag in the Navy, all knotted up in a condom of WQED about her ringmaster. And Netanyahu is laughing his ass off in the doomsday plane of Donald Trump. So you have this triangular swastika system that itself is a miracle. I mean, even if you buy that it just happened, it's a miracle. What happens to be the miracle that Mackenzie Shirilla needs to have addressed? Because the people, Wattenmaker, Dr. Mackenzie in brain research, his son provided the slanders. And when I go to lunch here, Senior Center, Lighthouse, Gas Lighthouse, where they abuse seniors who go against Netanyahu. They have a book by Stuart Onan called Wish You Were Here. Onan was a fellow traveler of Mackenzie, Dr. Mackenzie's son, in neurohypnosis. And they have a line of command into Strongsville. And they simply took Shirilla because her name was Mackenzie and because Shirilla Princess and because Shaviti came from Shulman books. That was about LSD, so-called therapy, which Wish You Were Here people believe in. Narcotics abuse people believe in. It's the macabre incarnations of archetypal demigods and the sort of thing that Peter Gabriel is involved in anthropological mythology studies. And it allows the people in MK Ultra to say we're acting in equity, man. So they figured, they're compulsive about their ideas of chivalry. I mean, Shifty darts for a dialectic, and he wants a game that illustrates the premise. UW wants to give him a grant for Holocaustal terrorism, and Seattle police want to give it give it time to make his point. So he darts after Mackenzie and says the queer bait is in an El Norte structure. He can beam off into victim land as a tycoon of victim status and escape the injection needle. But that means abandoning the Shirilla princess. Ha 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 ha. And this is the sort of macabre mind that has control of this divorce between media and education in our society.